Hey guys, welcome back to the Aviator Zone. I know it's been a very long time since I posted a video. In fact, I haven't posted since I guess finished training with Spirit Airlines. So I want to talk to you guys today about my journey with Spirit Airlines and just a couple things that I want to cover regards to what's happening now in aviation. So Spirit Airlines finally on the line. It's been now since January. I've been flying probably since February, late February. And I'm here in LA on an overnight. You guys have no idea how much work it is to carry tripod, camera, microphones, on top of everything else that I have to bring for my overnight. It takes a lot of effort to do this stuff, and I guess you really don't understand how much work it takes to do a YouTube channel or YouTube video until you actually do one. I know it's kind of like I see a lot of people on YouTube come in and out and doing this stuff, and I understand why. Filming it, editing it, carrying the gear, setting up, all that stuff takes a lot. So appreciate the other people that you see on YouTube doing this stuff, because it really takes a lot of work to do it. And other channels that I follow, I really appreciate what they do. So love the Airbus for most things. I love the table. The table is awesome. I get to put out the table, do my paperwork, do signing, all that stuff, work on my iPad. It's great. The side stick is cool because it's not in the way, obviously, but the airplane does feel a little bit artificial. I'm used to the big, the big horns, like they used to call them in the Embraer. Now I have just this little side stick. So when I'm doing like a turn, usually to join like the final, and I turn the autopilot off, that's when I feel like, oh my god, feels kind of artificial. So I missed that from the Embraer. Even though the Embraer was fly-by-wire, it felt like it was more of, you're actually flying. But then again, the Embraer is a way younger airplane than the Airbus is, like in 1980s technologies. The automation itself is pretty similar to the Embraer. There are some things that the Embraer did better. Like the Airbus, when you get to the top of descent, if you don't select to descend, it would just keep flying along. Whereas the Embraer, as soon as you set the top of descent, the airplane calculated the top of descent, and you selected a lower altitude, it knew that once it got to a certain point, it had to begin the descent, and it will begin the descent by itself, which was nice because sometimes we'll be busy talking about briefs and doing other stuff, or just looking out the window, like what we get paid to do, and you forget that you have to start your descent, and now you're late. And obviously these jets don't like to slow down, so you were high, so now you have to put brakes out and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that is something I really miss from the Embraer. The other thing about Spirit and a lot of major airlines and legacies, they don't put the flight crews together. So flight attendants go to one hotel and the pilots go to another hotel. When I was coming here, I was all excited because I thought, oh my god, this is going to be awesome. I'm flying the Airbus 321, 5 flight attendants plus a captain and I, huge group, we're going to be going out together, it's going to be fun, and disappointment. So on these overnights, like I'm in Long Beach and we landed in LA, they put us in pretty cool places, but it's just me and the captain. So if you really don't want to do much with your captain, then you're kind of stuck on your own. And I feel like that's a lot of the cases, even though there's a whole bunch of other guys that are cool and you always go out, but I do miss that interaction with my flight attendants. A lot of times I don't even meet all of them. I'll meet like the guys at the entrance because the other ones are all the way in the back. And yesterday I got called out for reserve, and the plane was boarded, everybody was in ready, just waiting for me to show up. So I literally walked in and everybody was back there already. I couldn't even say hi to them. So you miss that interaction with your flight crews a lot. So, but other than that, it's a cool place. I like the airplane. We're working on a new contract, as you guys already know, but I'm not going to talk about that stuff. That's boring. The other thing I want to talk about was a recent airplane crash that happened pretty close to home. In fact, at an airport that I used to fly 72s occasionally, every once in a while. You probably already saw it. It's that the international flight, the student took off from Tamiami Airport. Not a student, he was actually a private pilot. He took off from Tamiami Airport, went out and flew at night. Pretty crazy stuff. They didn't send search and rescue for him for a really long time. And I find that kind of weird because the flight aware or flight radar, I got to see an image of a flight radar where you can see the airplane flying out there doing some circles and coming back. I don't know if those circles are associated with a crash site, but I mean, if you're a flight school owner or operator, and you have a fleet of airplanes, no matter what size you are, if you're missing an airplane, where do normally people look for to track an airplane? Most of the time, you're going to go to FlightAware or the other Vector. There's a couple other, Flight Radar Vector or something like that. Flight Radar 24, I think it is. Anyways, but you're going to go online and you're going to try to find this airplane. Everybody is going to try to do that. Not, well, I have an airplane missing. Well, I wonder where do I search? No, you're going to try to check on that. So if they checked on that, well, how can you not say, oh my God, that airplane is doing circles here at night and now it's gone? I think I would personally get on one of my airplanes and fly out there and make sure that there's not an airplane out there. And if I don't find anything or something, like this, you call for search and rescue. This guy could have probably made it. You don't know. I mean, the wreck is pretty bad. He didn't make it, but well, I guess we'll find out. But you can see him out of the airplane. So either he was ejected out of the airplane, or he survived the crash and was out of the airplane and came out of the airplane. So how bad would it be if you're just crashed this airplane and you're sitting out there waiting for search and rescue and it's not coming? That's a pretty bad feeling. You can even see an alligator right next to his, I guess what is his body, because I can infer his body because it's all blurred out. Pretty sad. The other thing, the EOT was never activated. I mean, if that with the impact that airplane had, there was definitely enough G-forces for the EOT to activate. So a couple things could have happened there. One, EOT was not armed. It was on off. Two, the EOT was destroyed once it landed. But based on what I see, the tail broke off past it. I don't think it would have. It could, maybe. But you can obviously see that there's a section past the window where the EOT usually is that probably it looks pretty intact to me. I mean, past that it got ripped off. Who knows what happened? But could be a possibility that it got destroyed. And two, maybe the EOT, no, that was three. So maybe the EOT wasn't working. Or because otherwise, I mean, it just doesn't, every airplane flying to Miami International, every airliner flying through there is monitoring usually 1 to 1.5. So we would be all hearing it. And we would all be reporting it. Hey, I hear an EOT on guard. Hey, I hear an EOT on guard. So eventually they would send search and rescue. Even if I know we don't have satellite searching for 121.5 anymore, but we do have pilots, airliners flying around listening to it. So if we hear that, we're going to report it. And search and rescue is obviously going to be launched. I mean, missing, well, I guess, you know what? If you don't have a missing airplane report, you're going to think that it's just a false alarm. But who knows? Just a really sad incident. It shouldn't have happened. It's sad, and we'll see what the investigation comes up to. The other thing that news always say, or the flight school and the news almost made it sound like it was a pilot error. There probably is. It was probably pilot error. I've been out there at night. I've flown at night with no moon, and you're IMC. You're definitely, you can't have no visual reference. You're flying IFR, basically. Although legally it's BFR. But what if the airplane had a malfunction? They literally just right away, pilot error, pilot error, pilot error. What if the airplane had a malfunction and the guy didn't know what to do? He just circled down and crash landed in the Everglades. I mean, who knows? Can we tell right away? No, we're making assumptions right away. That same airplane had already landed off an airport not long ago. And, you know, there's been a lot of incidents at Dean. So who knows what actually happened in that airplane? Well, guess we only will tell when the NTSB comes out with its final report. So don't make assumptions. And the other thing that's been out there in the news a lot has been the lowering the minimums for ATP requirements. I was in flight school when you can be a commercial pilot with 250 hours. That was my goal. I was going to be 18 years old sitting in the right seat of an airliner. Well, that didn't happen. So it got pushed to 1,500 hours, and that had to change my career 360 degrees. With that said, I know what most people in flight school are thinking. They want the minimums lowered so they can get to a jet faster. But considering the fact of what I see when I'm flying in the airlines and the amount of people that come in, like 1,500 hours is not a lot of time. And I guess it's not really necessarily saying a lot of time, but I think it has to be about quality of time. Where did you get your hours? Because if you're telling me you got 10,000 hours of flying a 172 as an instructor, you're really flying. There's a certain mountain that you're climbing, right, of knowledge, and then you kind of get to a plateau, and then that you just stay in that plateau forever. You can't tell me that 15,000 hours of flight instruction later, you're going to learn something new. Very, very slim that you're going to actually learn something new. Versus if you're flying different types of operations, you're flying flight instruction, you're doing tours, you're doing charter, flying cargo, whatever it is that you do flying. But as long as you do something different and there's more quality of time, yes, the minimums could be lowered. But if you only have 1,500 hours or 250 hours of flight training, like, you know, you're right, great, you're a commercial pilot right out of flight school, and boom, you're going to sit in a jet. I didn't even learn how to fly instruments until I got to an airline. How many of you are instrument rated pilots and really, really, really comprehend a standard instrument departure? Probably not a lot, because you just don't fly them in a 172. Most of the time, you're going to get radar vectors and then off you go. But, you know, for me, I know when I got to the airlines, it was really hard to connect. What is, how does the airplane get from takeoff to its destination without any instructions and radar vectors and all this stuff? Like, it was very hard for me to see the full connection of the instrument flying structure. Getting to the airline, so I finally really understood that, because we normally do that all the time. Places like Atlanta, we'll take off vertical and lateral navigation all the way to our landing, to our destination, where literally the controller doesn't even give you a heading. It's RNAV to whatever it is, and you're flying RNAV all the way. So you really understand that in the airlines, and you get a very good understanding of instruments once you actually practice it. I flew instruments in the 402 once in a while going into Fort Lauderdale International when the weather was bad. That was something else, you know. Now you're flying an airplane by yourself. You got, eventually you could even potentially have passengers in the back. I didn't, because I was an IFR qualified for 135, but you know, you got people back there, you got no visual references whatsoever. You're in this airplane, now you're actually doing it. You really understand how it works. So should we lower the minimums? Probably not. Do I think it would benefit some pilots? Yes. But overall, I think honestly the airlines they really want to lower the minimums just so that they can pay us less. Shh, don't tell anybody that. But honestly, I think that's what's happening. There's pilots out there. People want to fly. There's a whole bunch of videos out there of actually showing how many airline pilots are qualified. How many guys would be qualified in a matter of months or weeks that just decided, hey, you know what? This is not paying enough. I got to go and do something else, and they stop flying. So there's definitely a possibility that there's definitely pilots out there that are capable of flying a jet. We just haven't really, you know, motivated them enough. Same thing the Air Force is having. Hell, if the Air Force called me and said, hey, do you want to fly a jet tomorrow? We're going to pay you this much. I'd be like, well, sign me up. But no, I have to jump through all these hoops and all this stuff, and I got to have this and this and that. And the pay sucks. Do you really think I'm going to want to go ahead and do that? Leave my aviation career that on the track that is now to go back and start with the Air Force? No, there's no way you guys are going to get, you know, the Air Force is going to get me to fly for them. Unless they come up with something that's going to really, really motivate me for me to go fly for them. So anyways, this is all my opinion, all my thoughts. You guys think of something, comments in the section below and let me know what you guys think. Anyways, time to go explore LA. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Give us a like, subscribe. See ya.